Another Friday hiding in my room. You can see the water. Like, there's some leaking that hasn't been fixed. Just kidding. And I don't want to make fun of this, but it's so amazing. The internet, the phones. That's not my case, but if you are charismatic, interesting, whatever, you can just do a video and upload it and reach millions of people. I know it's not everyone, but it's possible. You don't need like a lot. And I was just reading a book. Which one it was? Just finished one. I forgot. Oh yeah, the social leap. And this is a scientist, as he says that one of his favorite parts of the internet is YouTube because it took away the monopoly from television. It took away the gatekeeping of information, of stardom, and that's something that I used to think a lot before. I'm old enough to remember thinking like, imagine all those people that are never discovered and they have huge talent, but they just never got out of the room. And I thought that because I used to write music. I guess the last song I wrote, it's probably 5 years old. And I remember like how can I put out my music because I don't have that many friends. I don't have a band. And I used to think like the best we got is the Beatles, I guess. But I thought, but imagine all those people that they just never got out. And well, eventually I put my songs out, not produced, and they didn't get far. But I'm pretty proud of them. I'm sure they're pretty great. But that brings me to hikikomori, which is something that I'm working on for my other channel. And I read this article. I even ordered the book. I think it's called Eternal Adolescence from the psychiatrist who first described hikikomori, which is both the name of the syndrome and the name of the person who suffers it. And at the beginning, they thought they were just depressed people or maybe schizophrenia because it brings people to isolation. But this guy, this psychiatrist, thought that it was something different. And well, it comes to that, and it is now different. It's not depression, and it also gets actually confused with other disorders, which are gaming addiction and internet addiction, but they're not the same. Some hikikomori use the internet or play games, but that's not the cause. The cause of the isolation for people who are addicted to gaming is the game. The cause for the isolation of the hikikomori are social malaise. And there's this other sociologist who said that they had a word. I don't have it here, and I'm not gonna look it up. But for the importance people give to what other people think of you. So that's to me that's really interesting because what makes Japan great, safe, clean, efficient, it also what cause suffering for a lot of people. And actually, hikikomori used to be considered a cultural phenomenon, which was a label, or Malay, something like that, which was a label given to a syndrome that only affected a certain population. But now it's been discovered that that's not the case. It is happening everywhere. It's more common in men and in developed countries like Japan, Europe, stuff, but it's been found in Brazil, and it's probably everywhere. And one of the things that happened is that pandemic, with their lockdowns and home office, it's actually promoting hikikomori. I think it's doing a damage to people because I'm a psychologist, and for example, working with someone online to me it's kind of defeats the purpose because some people they actually don't like going out. They are afraid of going out, or and this only reinforces the avoidance. So to me, hikikomori is the result of extreme avoidance. And Freud actually talks about this in his book, The Culture and Its Malaise or whatever. And I found it really interesting. He defines culture as everything that separates us from animals and our ancestors, that is designed to keep us from nature and designed to help us interact with other members of society. But to me, this comes to culture is everything that some people hate, everything that we don't like and push us away. And he actually talks about the hermit, which was what inspired me researching about the hikikomori and finding the overlap, because it was really interesting. Because, for example, me, I don't like going out. I quit drinking a long time ago, and with that, I quit like socializing. I don't like going to parties. I don't like going to bars. I like going on dates. Uh, I like going to read to coffee. But the Freud, what Freud said really hit, like, resounded to me, because yeah, he says that the hermit becomes like that because they start avoiding the things they don't like, because they start hating, like, people are too noisy, so I don't go to the movies, or people are late, so I don't go there, or I don't talk to them because they're loud, or they're rude, they're dirty. So you start isolating. You start to move away from that, and suddenly there's only you in your room, because that's the only place where you don't have to deal with culture, which involves society. And it's avoidance because you start like, okay, I don't want to feel angry, I don't want to feel anxious, so I cut this part of my life. And as I said, suddenly you are in your room. And with the modern environment, we can stay there and we can order from Amazon, we can read, we can buy, we can play, we can get food. And if you have like an enabler, like usually with the hikikomori, their parents, well, there's no reason for them to go out. And that is something that happens in the interventions. Like, sometimes what helps people actually get help is when their enabler said, okay, no more, it's over, you are on your own. I'm not going to give you money, I'm not going to give you a house. If you want to take drugs, it's going to pain me, but you're on your own. And that's when people say, okay, okay, I'll get help, when they cut them their help. And I think that happens with hikikomori. And we could see the enabler as the culture, the government, and all that, which are just like promoting people, isolating themselves for what reason? I don't know. To have like shit people, to have like people who don't cause trouble, that can be controlled. Here you go. Here's your $100. Here's your Cheetos. Here's your alcohol and your video games, which I love. I love Cheetos. I love video games. I don't love alcohol. But it starts like that, and it's all of the sudden. Well, it's not all of the sudden, but suddenly you realize that you are a prisoner of your own self. And that's something interesting about the hikikomori. It's not like one day they decide. They're never coming out. It's slowly. It has like stages, and you could be like in stage 2. I can be in stage 4. I don't know, but it is like that. It starts like that. We start to avoid stuff, and well, the cure, the solution, it's going the other way. It's to start and take steps, little steps away from becoming hikikomori, from becoming an hermit. And yes, some people suck. I'm gonna be the first one to admit that. That's why I love the internet world, because I hate going out and people like they drive really bad. They don't respect the rules, the norms, the laws, and it really makes me mad. That's something that I thought probably hikikomori are people who are high in neuroticism and low in conflict, in high in agreeableness. So they realize that they are too nice to succeed in a world where you have to be like an ass, and that even if you are nice, people are not gonna be nice all the time. And I don't know. I just wanted to make this video.